You may have heard from your family, friends, or professionals online telling you need to buy organic foods or products because they are healthier and support a cleaner diet. However, what they don't tell you is what this term actually means. Luckily for you, you don't have to be confused anymore because in this video, I'm going to be explaining what organic actually means and which foods to buy that are organic and which ones you can avoid to save money. So let's get started. While not all produce needs to be organic, some fruits and vegetables that have thin skins will need to be organic because the pesticides that are sprayed onto these fruits and vegetables have an easier time getting into the fruit itself. So anytime that you're having berries like blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, you're eating the skin and essentially consuming the synthetic pesticides that are sprayed onto these fruits. Anytime that you're having leafy greens where you're consuming the outer part, like kale, collard greens, mustard greens, spinach, you're consuming those synthetic pesticides, and that over time is going to affect your health. That is why it's very important for all of these things to be organic because you're consuming the skin, and the skin itself tends to be very thin. Another important thing to note is that even when you're buying frozen fruits, it's still important that you're looking for that organic stamp or organic label when buying fruits that have thin skins because you are still consuming those synthetic pesticides if it's not organic certified. But this is where you can save money because when you have fruits and vegetables that are thick-skinned, it's a little bit different because the synthetic pesticides that are sprayed on top of the skin don't tend to get into the fruit itself. And in general, if you're not going to be consuming the peel but the fruit inside, then it's really not that big of a deal to buy those kinds of fruits or vegetables that have thicker skins organic. So some examples of this are things like pineapple, oranges, grapefruits, limes, lemons, mangoes, asparagus, cabbage, carrots. These are all examples of fruits and vegetables that have thicker skins that you won't be consuming the outside, and you can save more money on these types of fruits and vegetables. Our next category for foods that need to be organic will be things like dairy. Dairy is one of those things that will need to have a certified organic labeling because the feed that's given to the cows has a GMO feed that is not really going to be good for our bodies, and it will most likely have some type of synthetic pesticide. On top of that, any type of dairy product will usually have some type of growth hormones or antibiotics that doesn't really need to be in our body. And some other examples of dairy products also include cottage cheese, sour cream, and even things like coffee creamer. Anything that contains milk will still need to be organic certified. When you have that organic label, the farmers that produce the milk from the cows have to have a stricter regulation with dairy products because they cannot have antibiotics, growth hormones, and they cannot have synthetic pesticides in the feed. And this in return helps to save you more money in the long run because you're skipping out on all those health issues when drinking things like organic dairy. Our last category for foods that need to be organic are things like meat and poultry. This includes things like ground beef, chicken, turkey, eggs, ham, prepackaged foods like hot dogs, patties, and even deli slices. All of these things are going to have things like nitrates as well, which are not really good for our body, and they need to have that organic certification label to again further reduce the chances of antibiotics, growth hormones, and reducing the amount of pesticides. If you want to better yourself this summer, then you can start by including organic foods slowly into your diet so that you can save yourself on a lot of health issues in the future. Of course, for the sake of this video, I just included 3, but there are more foods that do need to be organic. So if you want to know what those foods are, I highly recommend trying to do more research on these foods, or I can do a follow-up video to further give you more education on which foods need to be organic and which ones you can save your money on. But with that being said, that is the end of today's video. I hope you liked this video, and I will see you in the next video.